So the organelle we're looking at in this video is the vacuole. And if you look on this image here for a vacuole, what you will rapidly notice is that there are none. The reason is that this is an animal cell, and vacuoles in animal cells are significantly less easy to find than in plant cells. So there actually are vacuoles in animal cells, but like I said, they're just not super obvious. So let's go to the next slide and actually look for a vacuole in a plant cell. And as you can see, here it is. It's pretty darn obvious in a plant cell. Okay, it's this big open space. It's a membrane-bound organelle, like most of the other organelles we've seen. And inside this vacuole, in either a plant cell or in the much smaller animal cell vacuoles, they're largely filled with water. They can have enzymes, which remember are certain proteins that speed up biological reactions. And occasionally, vacuoles can also contain energy-containing molecules, aka food. So they usually contain the first two, and sometimes they can contain the third thing. They basically are sacs inside the cell that separate the contents of the vacuole from the rest of the cell. So again, like, it's not a bad way of thinking about them. It's just storage sacs in the cell. Again, just to reiterate, in plants, the vacuoles tend to be really big, and they tend to be largely the main component of them in plants is water. In animals, excuse me, they tend to be smaller and there tend to be more of them. They still have a lot of water, but they also are more likely to contain enzymes and food. Okay, and just to be thorough, here's another animal cell. This one actually does have a vacuole inside of it, and you can see it's much smaller than in the plant cell. This is probably a fragment of another vacuole. Animal cells often have more than one vacuole. Here is a picture of a paramecium. This is a small single-celled organism. And here, I'll just redraw it over here to sort of highlight the vacuoles here. There's a bunch of these vacuoles in a paramecium. And they're these small circular small circles, I guess, all throughout the paramecium. And again, in a paramecium, they serve to isolate food from the remaining. That sounds like a word, but it's not. From the remaining cytoplasm. And paramecium also have vacuoles that are contractile vacuoles that help the thing move. So they actually push out water and make it act like sort of jet propulsion. Here's another vacuole. This is kind of cool. This is inside this thing, Plasmodium falciparum. Mary's going to kill me for saying it wrong. Whatever, Mary. What this thing is, it's the malaria pathogen. It's another protist. It's another single-celled organism that mosquitoes sometimes have inside of their bodies. And when the mosquitoes suck your blood, they inject this malaria parasite into your body, and then it attacks your red blood cells. And here's the thing that's cool about vacuoles and this malaria parasite. This thing right here, good that I used red on red, this thing right here is a vacuole, and the way that it happens, or the way it develops, is here's your malaria parasite, here's the nucleus, here's a mitochondria over here, and you have a big red blood cell down here. So what will happen is that this malaria parasite will come along and it will merge with the red blood cell. And basically what will happen is that it will ingest part of that red blood cell in here, like this, and then it will pinch off. Whoops, it will pinch off, and it will seal up the malaria parasite again, and that part of the red blood cell that it ingested gets bound as a vacuole, and then it gets consumed by the malaria parasite, because for this parasite, blood is food. And it's kind of cool. You can actually pretty easily visually see the color in terms of where that's coming from. Sorry. Early morning cough. Here's a plant cell, and this, as you can see, has just a ginormous vacuole inside of it. This thing is providing much of the structure of the plant cell. It's filled up with water. And because it's filled with water, that's giving it sort of structure and rigidity. If a plant cell, if that water were to escape for some reason, then the plant cell would no longer be able to support itself as well. And indeed, this is what happens if you like leave a leaf out for a long time. The water slowly leaves the vacuole and the leaf starts to contract. Um, so this is another image of this. Basically, what's happened here is that that water has left the vacuole because the exterior was probably hypertonic, and so the water left the vacuole going towards via osmosis towards the more hypertonic area.